We are back on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180. Clay Kerner and Marty Pay. And our guest is Bay Buchanan, former Treasurer of the United States. Bay, I had a question for you, something that that I saw on American Cause. Actually, well, let's do this. Why don't you talk a little bit about American Cause, okay? Tell us the organization that you're the president of.
Sure. The American Cause was founded after Pat's first presidential race, my brother, Pat Buchanan, and it was to keep in the public debate issues that were closest to us, the issues that he ran on, which is, this idea of economic nationalism, fair trade. It's immigration, illegal immigration issue, and then, of course, a very strong social conservative position, and America First foreign policy. So those are the big issues for us, and we've held over the years any number of conferences. We bring both sides. We'll bring free traders to debate with the fair traders. We'll bring the neocons to debate with the more traditional America First type foreign policy. And it's just been a very vibrant experience to be able to just really have intellectual discussions and debates with people who are all conservatives, and just to get the word out that there's another side to things that we really think is the right direction. And I'll tell you another area that we've created. It's the Campus Project, and it puts me on college campuses across the country. So I'll go in. The other day I was at Arkansas State University debating on the issue of immigration, an individual who is very pro-amnesty. And it goes down that line. I go from campus to campus. I'll talk about pro-life on campuses. I talk about immigration. I talk about the wars, whatever they want me to, so that these conservatives on campus have an opportunity to bring somebody who's a true conservative to take up their side, a national figure rather than all these national left-wingers that always prance through these college campuses. They'll have a conservative on campus that can kind of rally their side and really make a debate, either debate teachers or professors or just the students themselves.
What's your website, Bay, in case anybody...
It's www.theamericancause.org.
And I highly...
AmericanCause.org.
AmericanCause.org.
TheAmericanCause.org.
I really highly recommend that website. You've got some great articles on there. In fact, there was an article that you had done last year that I was going to ask you about called
Sure.
Beware of the Republican Establishment.
Yes.
And you kind of really predicted what actually happened the other night.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I find what's happening in this remarkable development, and I could see it coming, and I just didn't know how strong it would be, and it's just powerful. It's a powerful movement. And that is it's this idea of the Tea Party. It's the people coming up from the ground up saying, no more of this, no more of the establishment Republicans. That's what gave us Obama. People were sick and tired of where we ended up at the end of the Bush administration. And so they chose Obama. And Obama, again, was arrogant and hasn't listened to the American people. So now we have a very vibrant movement where people are saying, let's just, it's time to bring fresh new ideas and faces into the Republican Party. Let's take over this party, move those establishment guys aside. And it's so funny to hear Karl Rove, just go apoplectic that this candidate, Congressman Castle, didn't win in Delaware. That was their choice. That was where they poured their money. And instead, this young gal won, Christine O'Donnell, who is very, very conservative and outspoken and bold. And sure, she doesn't have the big resume of Congress Representative Castle, and she doesn't have the money sources and all, but she's fresh and she's new and she's taken on the establishment, and all this so-called Tea Party crowd, which I just think are wonderful, came to her aid, and now people across the country are saying, good, somebody new. Do you know, what's amazing to me is it's all about power, you all. This establishment Republican are so desperate to hang on their power, they're pushing people to get nominated or reelected or elected who are no different than the Bushites. They'll vote virtually, Castle votes almost with the Democrats all the time. And so why would we want to go backwards?
Sure.
We want to go forward. We want to have this is the new Republican Party, or we're going to be a dead Republican Party.
Exactly.
So the fresh new ideas, how outraged they were that Rand Paul was surfing. Outraged. The guy's a doctor, for gosh sakes. Well, he can't win in a general. That's what they say about Christine. You can't win in general. Guys, how many times as conservatives have you heard the moderates say to us, we can't, your guys can't win in the general?
Yeah.
Well, that's just their way to hang on to power. It's time just to throw them all out, and that's what America needs. It's the only way we're going to save this great country from those who are in Washington who have guided us continually in the wrong direction for way too many years.
Exactly. We're talking to Bay Buchanan on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180. I noticed this morning, Bay, that O'Donnell, Christine, was up 4 points.
And I didn't see that poll. I called somebody. I just gave a debate downtown, and I called somebody, and they said she was down about 10, which isn't all bad either.
Right.
And she could be up. Well, they said Rand Paul was going to lose, and he's up like 13.
Yeah.
I mentioned that.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I should clarify that. Not that she's up 4 points over her opposition. She's up. She's up 4 points from where she was on Tuesday. So I think she's only down a total of 6. I think.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
enormous momentum.
Yeah, what kind of a bump is that? That's fantastic.
Well, the girl raised almost $1 million in one day.
Exactly. They said she couldn't raise the money. That's Karl Rove. He's a genius. She can't raise the money, and then the next day there's $1 million in the bank, and it's in Delaware for golly day. And that's what they can't, fellas. The power thing is so utterly corrupting that and that's what I wrote about in that article. They tried to control the primaries. They tried to pick and choose in state after state after state who was going to win. Rand Paul was doing well, so they put an establishment in against him. A guy, I guess it was Trey, got in there, a lieutenant governor or attorney general, and Rand was able to beat him in Colorado. Ken Buck was doing great, and so McCain stepped in and got his chairman of his presidential campaign in Colorado to run, a former lieutenant governor, Jane Norton. And Buck, who didn't have any money at the beginning, just trounced her out there, just beat and no, I guess it was pretty close at the end, but he was way ahead for a long time, and he won. It's state after state. Rubio, they said he can't win against Crist now. Well, he's pulled out in front of Crist. People in this country want to get rid of what's yesterday, because yesterday, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, yesterday gave us this incredible debt and just a ballooning deficit every single day, and no guts, no leadership as to how to get out of it. If we don't get really good Americans who are completely committed to this country and not to their high donors or to their party leaders, but to do what's right for the country, we will not survive.
Well, I want to look at the future and not the past, and there's a new group of Republicans called the Young Guns. Have you heard of the Young Guns?
I do know the Young Guns. Yes, I do.
One of those Young Guns is Kevin McCarthy, right here from Bakersfield, California.
Excellent, excellent. I don't know Kevin, but these Young Guns I've met a number of them, and I got to tell you something. Eric Cantor, I know, is very involved. He's a congressman from Virginia, and very smart, and very conservative and solid and willing to fight those that he has to in his own party in order to get the word out. But these Young Guns, I've met a number of them, and a lot of them are returned veterans. They're young guys. They have enormous charisma in the sense that they really appeal to people. The ones I'm meeting are they're ranchers or they're small businessmen. These aren't high-powered attorneys who have this resume that's very impressive. These are people with just a heart full of love for this country and willing to serve them overseas and military. Many of them are veterans, and they come back. They've seen problems in their own country, and they've said, we got to serve this country again. We got to give our time, and try to turn things around in Washington.
Exactly.
And I think these Young Guns, those that win, are going to be the backbone of a very powerful Republican Party in the future.
Well, Babe, maybe we can somehow. Kevin's going to be at the conference as well. Maybe we'll see if we can get the two of you connected.
I would love to talk to him.
Okay.
I'd love to talk to the ones I've met up to now. I'm extraordinarily impressed.
Yeah, that would be great. We have a couple minutes left, and I have another question I've been burning to ask you about. I just started your book, The Extreme Makeover of Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Yes.
And I know there's some people have been advancing this theory, and I kind of agree with it. I mean, Obama's a lame duck. Do you think Hillary is positioning herself to run against Obama in 2012?
She would have a hard time doing it. She has to break with him pretty soon to do that. It would show enormous ingratitude to be the Secretary of State for, and to step down and run against your president after 3.5 years of serving him. So I think it's unlikely, but unless, of course, she were to step down this next year, that could be done. But I'll be honest, she loves being Secretary of State. she really does love it, and I've written, as I said, as you mentioned, I've written a book about her. She's the kind of person that this is a perfect job for, because she does study hard, and so when she lands in a foreign country, she's going to know a lot about that country, a lot about the players, the people she's meeting. She will really work it. She probably knows more than most anyone else on the trip, and so she's in her element. She doesn't have to debate policy. Someone else is establishing the policy. All she's doing is implementing it. And I think this is the kind of a role that she can do on her own and not be surrounded by policy people and try to figure this whole thing out. And I don't think she's as strong when it comes to that.
Yeah, it's interesting because now that you mention it, I mean, you can see how much she really does like this job.
Yeah.
She's really in her element.
She really is. She loves going around. And as I said, in fairness to her, she does her homework. She's not going to be out there making some ridiculous statement, and she will be loyal to her president. Mm-hmm. She might disagree with him. She'll have her discussion privately, and I think she does. She loves traveling and getting around and being the center of attention rather than the wife. And so I think she's doing. I think she wants to live out these 4 years, and she would have to cut that short if she's going to run against him. Then she gets back into that political and. I don't see her running against the guys. I just don't.
That's interesting. Bay, unfortunately, our time is short and it's over. And I'd love to have you again if we can, possibly after the conference is over and everything. And
delighted. I'd look forward to it.
That'd be great. Bay, thank you very, very much
You're
for the
welcome.
time.
Good luck to you all now. We'll look forward to seeing you in a month or so.
Sounds great.
Okay, bye-bye.
This is Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180. We'll be back in a moment.